What poor food is now expensive to eat? Chicken wings and flank steak. Beef tongue is also 100 times the price it was when my grandma used to boil it in the 50s. Barbecue. Used to be cheap, though undesirable cuts of meat slow smoked until tender because that was the only way to make it edible. Now they're charging $24 per pound. Oxtails. We used to have stew every winter from my single mom. Sliced deli meat. Used to be $3.99 a pound for turkey, and now it's $12.99 a pound. Wings. Before there were wing spots everywhere, they were sold in bags for 20 cents a pound. Oxtails went from basically free to kind of expensive in no time flat. I have the feeling that cereals weren't always that expensive. Butter and cheese here has gone mad expensive. Lobsters and oysters. They used to be food for the poor. McDonald's, Taco Bell, Wendy's, Burger King, etc. Literally everything. The general public used to be pretty bad at cooking, more scared to eat different things. And so anything other than the mainstream stuff was seen as lesser and was cheaper. Then, people learned that most things can be made great with the right techniques and started buying the cheap stuff instead of the expensive stuff until they raised the prices of the cheap stuff to match the expensive stuff. Fucking hamburgers. I want a $4 burger with American cheese and grilled onion. That's it. Fucking Five Guys and food trucks charging $15 for a burger. Even a Big Mac is like $6. It's outrageous. Burgers are like hot dogs, a use for waste meat. Don't get me fucking started on Wagyu cultural appropriation bullshit with burgers. What a fucking waste of amazing meat to grind it up and put it on a bun. I'd rather have a Beyond Burger. Avocado. East Coast US, $3.99 to have 3 slivers of avocado added to your quick check sandwich. 50% chance it's past date and brown. 50% chance it's perfectly fine and less than 3 slivers. I won't even entertain calling the portions a full slice. Edit. Northeast. Street tacos. Before it was super cheap, I remember paying 75 cents a taco in the early 2000s. Now I've seen some go for $4 each. Lobster. It used to be fed to prisoners and indentured servants because it was so unappealing. I remember McDonald's being a cheap go-to, but now it's $15.99 for a micro burger and tiny bag of fries. Bologna. 8 for 500 gram. It's priced as high as turkey now. As a kid who ate a lot of bologna sandwiches because it was so cheap, that's effing crazy. My $2.16 McDonald's lunch is now $6.41.
A McChicken and a medium fry used to be about $3. They got rid of the McChicken, at least in my market, and now only have the McCrispy. A McCrispy and a medium fry is nearly $10.
Chicory. It used to be mixed into coffee because coffee was expensive. Then chicory became more of an expensive niche item. Brisket. Poor people learned how to make it delicious, and rich people took it from us. I haven't had my mama's brisket recipe in years because of the price. Fucking hot dogs! $4.50 for 8 used to be cheap camping or game-watching food, but fuck me. You can get a hot dog at Sam's for $1.50? I just do that rather than shell out the money for buns and hot dogs. I live in Canada, so everything. It's true. Every butcher's cut of steak, hanger steak, flank steak, they used to be cheap and flavorful and bulletproof to overcooking. I guess they're still flavorful and bulletproof, but they cost nearly as much as ribeye. Also, canned soup. In university, Elle used to buy it for an easy and cheap 50C $1 meal. Now Campbell's soups are up to $4.50 a can. Even the basic tomato soup is $2.99. You just sent me down a rabbit hole on soup prices because Progresso used to cost more. I'm confused by the Campbell pricing because I see it everywhere from $2.29 to like $9.50, which makes no sense for a single. Progresso has decent deals, so I'll just stick to remembering 4 for $5. Eggs and ground beef. Used to be half the price, and that was 3 years ago. Eggs were like double the price 3 years ago, LOL. Edit. Apparently the egg shortage was last year, not 3 years ago, but eggs are now roughly the same price as they were 3 years ago. Fucking Cocoa Pops! Not a big cereal fan normally, but had a notion for some Cocoa Pops. Had a look in Tesco, and they were over $5 for Cocoa Pops. Last time I noticed, they were just over $1. Stick to my toast, I think. Not paying that. Quinoa used to be a staple grain for many poor people, but then it became a rich foodie staple. Canned corned beef, now like $5-6 a can. Used to be closer to $1-2 back in the day. Beef pork neck bones, tripe, smoked ham hocks, turkey neck bones, 70/30 ground beef, chicken wings, menudo, tacos. IDK if this would be considered poor food, but sandwiches it be costing at least $15-20 just for bread. In my case, turkey and cheese. TT, and if you want more stuff on it, it'll cost you another 20. Most shellfish, including oyster, was a staple for poor fishing communities. I used to get a big family pack of Italian sausage for $6 now. It's $16, and it was not very good. Not sure what they did to it, but I don't buy it anymore. A tin of corned beef was always a broke food. I'm my house, but in recent years, the prices have hit the roof. We all used to have sleep for dinner. Well, rent and mortgages are insane these days, so arguably having sleep for dinner has gone up in price too. Fast food as a whole used to be an easier choice, sacrificing it being a healthy option in favor for something quick and relatively cheap. Costs a damn fortune now for no reason. At least that's the case here in Ireland. Lobsters. My dad worked in Aberdeen as a young man in the 70s and said he ate so much lobster as that was some of the cheapest food going. He didn't eat it again for the next 30 years. Fast food. Even more expensive ordering through a delivery app. Luckily, I'm trying to quit it and watch my health. Burger. In my hometown, it was like $5, but now it's $25 without fries and a drink just the burger. Baking. Flour, sugar butter, etc. It used to be economical to turn your rotting bananas into banana bread. Now that costs $10 in supplies to make. Wild. Pizzas have gone up considerably. What was a $10 pie is now $15, 20 and up just the last couple years. Dark meat chicken, wings, legs, thighs. I used to be able to get thighs for 49 cents a pound because nobody wanted it. Everyone was buying boneless, skinless breasts for $6 a pound, and we were sending all our dark meat to Russia where they eat the shit out of it. Then keto happened, and suddenly everyone wanted dark, fatty chicken meat. What isn't expensive? I've had to cut out almost all creature comforts on principle. $4 to $5 for a loaf of okay, pre-sliced sandwich bread? $7 for a bag of chips? We're going to solve the obesity epidemic by making it hard to afford to eat. I know that ramen has gone up a lot over the years. When I was a kid, it was roughly $0.09 per pack. Used to be 20 for a 1, 15 for a 1, 10 for a 1. Now it's between 3-5 for a 1. McDonald's, Wendy's, pizza chains. All of the boutique fast food dispensaries. Should I say soylent buffets? Poison the rats. Stay away from deep-fried food at lowbrow eateries. It will destroy your digestive health. Not kidding. Almost $6 for a gallon of milk where I live. We go through about 3 jugs a week. Adds up fast. We already had to stop buying the fancy lactose-free milk BC. It's even more. Sushi, probably the original example, started as poor workers' food. It was made from leftover fish, often soaked in vinegar because it was borderline spoiled. The form factor was also designed to be easily eaten by workers, requiring no cutlery or dishes. Peanut butter sandwiches or deli meat sandwiches. My breakfasts and lunches have quickly diminished in choices. Codfish. Used to be cheap, and now it's more expensive than fine beef. Ground turkey. I used to buy it when my kids were little for $1 for a chub, a frozen pound in roll form. I bought it because we're poor and got used to the taste of it over hamburger meat and prefer it. Now it's more expensive than hamburger meat in some cases, especially if you get the lean kind. Didn't lobster used to be a poverty food? Personally, I find the idea of eating giant sea bugs repulsive, so I'll never eat them myself either. Oh cool, it looks like it's time to post a parallel. What expensive food is now cheap to eat? Karma farming question. Millets. Non-polished rice or dal. Did I say millets? Indian here. We'd use faux grains and millets for animal feed, and in villages for regular consumption, plus during fasting. Now, many native millets and brown rice, etc. are too expensive if you're not middle and upper class. If the cheap foods are now expensive due to more demand, then why didn't demand fall off for the previously expensive foods, making them less expensive? Or is this just all prices inflating due to more people spending money? Pizza, $1.30 in '93 when I started driving versus $3.50 now. Granted, it's still cheap per se, but if you look at a basic pizza, one slice of cheese, sauce, and dough is probably around 20 cents to make. Astounding percentage increase. German doner kebab used to be $2.50 for a small and $3.50 for a big one. Now the big kebab is like 7 or 8 euros in some places. Jambalaya, red beans and rice, and gumbo have become staples for Cajun cuisine. Used to be that you'd make a ton of either for next to nothing, and it would last you all week or more. Now you have local restaurants charging $8 for a small bowl cup of either. Fast food. The prices have skyrocketed lately, while the quality of the food has simultaneously plummeted. For a few dollars more, you can go to a nice sit-down restaurant and get food that's 10 times better than what you'd get for nearly the same money at your local McDonald's. Crawfish, they used to be so cheap, like cooked for sub-dollar. Now it's between $7 and $14 depending on where you go and what part of the season. Velveeta cheese. That shit was the cheese for the poor in the 80s and 90s. I know I grew up on it. Velveeta and generic macaroni noodles. Now, that shit is so expensive. My wife needed it to make some cheeseburger soup, and I went to the store, and holy shit is it expensive. Also, Gouda cheese. It's made by a company that starts with B. Anyway, my wife is Native American, and this is the free shit that was sent to reservations for the super poor. Now I see it being sold in higher-end local butcher shops and marketed as a high-end cheese. Super weird. Chips. Why does a regular-sized bag of Doritos Lay's cost $4+? Oysters. Once in abundant supply, oysters were the food of commoners. Now that 95% of the world's oyster resources have been over-harvested or degraded, production has shifted to farming rather than wild capture. Lower supply and increasing demand as higher price. Thank you for coming to today's lecture on supply-demand. Beans. A can of black beans should be $1. I went to get some the other day, and the cheapest can was $4. That's insane. What's going on with macaroni and cheese? Sure, you can buy a box to make at home for a few dollars, but what the fuck is up with some fast casual places selling mac and cheese with lobster in it for $20 a bowl? And where in the hell does McDonald's get off charging $10 for a burger? How dare they? Chitlins. I don't eat them, but I've heard a lot of complaints about how expensive they were this past holiday season. Ground beef. It used to be the cheapest variety of beef, but now it's more expensive than some steaks at the market. Avocado toast. My grandfather used to talk fondly about only being able to afford cassava bread and avocado in his youngster days, and now it's a whole fancy thing. Sit-down pizza restaurants. Oxtails, draft beer, deli sandwiches, burritos, brisket. It used to be one of the cheapest parts of the cow and cost very little. Now it's expensive as hell. Chicken wings, chitterlings, greens, oxtail, ham. Breakfast now that it's trendy to brunch. Burgers are fucking high dollar too. Thank you for watching our video. If you enjoyed it, please don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Also, check out our other interesting videos. What do you hate about your body? And how do you imagine yourself in 10 years? Don't miss these unique stories and intriguing insights. We look forward to seeing you in our next videos.